In the heart of the verdant realm, where rivers wound like silver threads through emerald fields, stood Castle Arborcrest. Its white stone walls bore the patina of centuries, and banners of crimson and gold fluttered in the spring breeze. On this day, the castle gates swung wide for a festival unlike any before. Aging but still vigorous, King William surveyed his courtyard from the high dais, fine lines tracing his weathered face as he greeted visiting rulers. Trumpets called, drums echoed, and courtiers arranged themselves in neat ranks. Lush garlands of roses and ivy adorned every archway. The air buzzed with anticipation, music, laughter, and the promise of marvels yet to come. Under the castle's soaring arches, visiting rulers in jeweled turbans and embroidered robes bowed to King William. Prince Michael, tall and dark-eyed, stood at his father's side, his cloak trailing on mosaic tiles. Princess Emily, her hair, a cascade of chestnut waves, offered warm smiles to emissaries. Court musicians tuned harps and violins, while minstrels plucked lutes in anticipation. Servants carried goblets of spiced wine, trays of honey cakes, and platters of roast pheasant. Every face shone with excitement. The realm's finest had gathered to honor King William's long and prosperous reign. Yet beneath the finery, unspoken, questions stirred. Would this festival mark the culmination of his rule or the dawn of a new era? At the edge of the dais, a hush fell as Sophia, the realm's most celebrated dancer, glided forward. Clad in a flowing gown of sapphire silk, embroidered with silver vines, she appeared almost ethereal. Jewels at her waist caught torchlight, sending tiny stars dancing across the courtyard walls. Revered for grace that seemed to defy gravity, Sophia carried a small satchel at her side, gifted earlier by Reverend Samuel, filled with gold coins intended as tribute for each moment of transcendent beauty. All eyes turned to her as she lifted her arms like bird wings ready for flight. Sophia began with soft, deliberate steps, heels barely whispering against the stones. Her arms curved like willow branches. Each gesture told a story of longing and renewal. Strings shimmered to life as lutes and violins wove a lilting melody. The court leaned in, captivated by her every move. The sway of her hips, the bend of her knees, the subtle tilt of her head. In that moment, neither age nor rank mattered. All felt bound by the rhythm of her dance, buoyed by the promise of beauty, transcending time. Midway through the performance, the melody deepened, inviting hushed awe. Yet at one harpist station, the seasoned musician's eyelids drooped. The long journey to the castle, the weight of countless performances, and the soft allure of Sophia's slower passages lulled him toward slumber. His fingers hesitated above strings, his head dipped, then jerked up as if startled from a dream. A murmur rippled through the audience. What if the very art meant to enliven them now betrayed its keeper? Sophia paused, her sapphire sleeve catching the lamplight. In that pregnant silence, she stepped toward the drowsy harpist and recited, in a clear, resonant voice, a couplet of her own creation. When the heart drifts into shadows, keep the spark of wonder rouse from sleep. Her words hung like dew on autumn grass. At once, the harpist sat upright, fingers flying across strings as if each note were life-saving. The music soared anew, brighter and stronger than before. A ripple of astonished applause washed over the court, a testament to the power of simple words at the right moment. As melody swelled, Sophia's words echoed in every mind. The Viscount fidgeted less, the Duchess leaned in closer, and even the visiting Sultan's stern visage softened. Whispers of the couplet passed from lip to lip, weaving through courtiers like threads of gold. Walls of pride and fatigue crumbled as all felt that spark rekindle within. No longer mere spectators, they became participants in a living tapestry of renewed wonder. Behind velvet curtains, Prince Michael's heart hammered with a secret darker than court intrigue. He had plotted to seize the throne, an act born of impatience and distrust in his father's waning years. Yet now, Sophia's words and their resounding effect stirred something unfamiliar: humility. In the mirror's reflection, he saw not a confident heir, but a man undone by ambition. With a steadying breath, he vowed to abandon his scheme and serve the realm with honor rather than covet its power. Nearby, Princess Emily's fingers toyed with a hidden scroll, an elopement plan that would whisk her away from duty and duty-bound expectations. She had longed for freedom, yet Sophia's poem stirred her conscience. She pictured the faces of loyal subjects, the beauty she would forsake, the legacy she might tarnish. The words, "spark of wonder," glowed in her mind like embers calling her home. Unfolding the scroll, she let it drift to the floor, resolving to embrace her birthright, with renewed purpose rather than flee from it. Reverend Samuel, standing near the dais with the bag of gold coins, felt his own calling stir. He had grown comfortable in the trappings of court life, honored, respected, but distanced from the simple devotion of his youth. Sophia's words beckoned him back to prayer mat and scripture, to days when his only wealth was faith. Tucking the coins into the folds of his robes, he whispered a vow to return to a life of spiritual teaching rather than earthly reward. High on his dais, King William felt tears press behind his eyes. He had called this festival to honor his reign, yet he realized that true legacy lay not in grand spectacles, but in moments of awakening. With a voice both quavering and regal, he proclaimed to the hushed court that the time had come to pass the crown. Stepping down from his seat, he placed his jeweled circlet into the hands of Prince Michael's symbol of authority, now entrusted to a son tempered by humility. As courtiers gasped and foreign rulers exchanged amazed glances, King William addressed them once more. He spoke of devotion, of the need to care for the soul as one cares for the land. With the crown set aside, he donned simple robes of pale linen garb befitting one called away from politics to contemplation. His eyes shone with peace as he bid farewell. "Let my days be spent in prayer and service, that this realm may flourish under wiser hands." Sophia stood alone beneath the arch of wisteria in the courtyard. The cheers of celebration drifted from the hall, but her heart beat to a different drum, the call to purpose beyond applause. She reached into the satchel Reverend Samuel had refilled, with humility rather than gold, withdrew the coins, and released them among the ivy at her feet. In that simple gesture, she pledged to dedicate her art not to empty praise, but to lifting spirits toward truth. At dawn's first light the next day, Prince Michael led a procession to the temple atop Willow Hill, where he offered prayers of gratitude and guidance. Princess Emily, her gown exchanged for simple robes, knelt beside him, vow of service on her lips. Reverend Samuel returned to his spiritual hermitage, welcomed villagers seeking wisdom. Sophia taught children steps of her dance, not for courts, but for hearts yearning for uplift. Castle Arbor Crest stood behind them, its banners, still bright but no longer symbols of power alone. News of the transformation spread across the verdant realm. In taverns and market squares, minstrels sang of King William's abdication, the royal siblings' renewed purpose, and Sophia's vow. Visiting rulers carried tales home of a court that learned humility in a single breath. Reverend Samuel's teachings reached distant corners, reminding all that every moment holds the spark of destiny. Years later, poets would recall that festival as the turning point of an age. Songs were written of the poem that awakened a slumbering heart, tales of a daughter who found her true self, a son who chose honor, and a king who embraced devotion, became guiding stars for young and old alike. Even now, whenever life tilts toward haste or pride, a single couplet whispers on the wind. In fleeting hours our wills unfold. Choose wisely when the dawn is cold. Time is precious and unforgiving. Decisions made in haste or without wisdom can stain a life more deeply than any crown. Yet at the right moment, when a heart is open, a single word or gesture can shift destiny's course. True fulfillment arises, not from power or applause, but from choosing the path of honor, reflection, and higher purpose.